Hi, everyone. Welcome to my channel, Abby the Food Scientist. I'm Abby, and today I have a special guest, Ben Ma. Hi, Ben.
Hi, Abby.
So, Ben, you have a background in food science. You did your bachelor's degree at Minnesota, then you moved to
Mhm.
Kansas State for your master's degree, and now currently we are both in Wageningen in the Netherlands. So you are working on
Yeah,
your PhD here. And
I
this
am. Yes.
is, yes, where we met. You might have thought our paths would cross when I was in Wisconsin and you were in Minnesota, but not that
Yeah.
we remember.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
And I don't know if you know this, but you were actually, I think, the first person I met once I moved to the Netherlands.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Because it was almost 2 years ago that it was
Yes,
still kind of the prime COVID season.
it was. And I had
Yeah.
moved
Uh-huh.
from Wisconsin to the Netherlands to start my
Yeah.
postdoc. And because
Right.
it was like COVID rules still, I don't think we could go into work that regularly. So I had
No.
no way of making friends.
Yeah.
And then one of a friend we knew we had in common sent me a message being like, "Hey, if you don't know anyone, you should reach out to Ben. Like you guys are in the
Yeah.
same like science communication space because you have your podcast and I have my YouTube channel." And he's like,
Yeah.
he's a nice guy, like just reach out to him. And so I maybe I sent you a LinkedIn message. I can't remember.
I think so. Yeah. It was started on a very formal
Yeah.
reaching out. Yeah.
No.
But then both of us, I think we had to convert on WhatsApp as is the
Yes.
main communication channel
Yes.
here in the Netherlands. Yeah,
Yes, absolutely. And I remember, I think we met for lunch, and I was so excited because I had zero social plans, like no
yeah,
social life. So this was like the
uh-huh.
big thing in my week.
Yeah, it was same for everyone because
Yes.
it was just a tough time to really meet anybody, and I was almost on the same boat when I
Yeah.
first came. Yeah, it was hard.
Because I'm trying to remember, had you been here for like a year at that point, or how long had you had in the Netherlands?
I'm on my year three right now,
Okay.
so about uh, not yet 2.5, but close to
Oh,
it.
okay. Yes, yes. So you had not been here much longer than me, and you had been here all
Oh,
during COVID at that point, which is
pretty
difficult.
much. Yeah. Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. Yes. But
Uh-huh.
Ben, I
Uh,
brought you here
uh-huh.
because I think your PhD work is so interesting. I remember at lunch when you told me like, "Oh, I work on 3D printing and personalized foods." I think my jaw was like so jealous.
Yeah.
So jealous. So I was wondering, could you just explain like what is meant by personalized food? It's like such a buzzword right now.
Yes. Yes. Well, I mean, on paper, or if you just interpret it literally, it's food made by a specific person, not as so. This is in contrast to mass-produced
Mm,
food products that you might buy at grocery stores. So and it's not really a new concept, right? If you cook your own dinner, you pack
mhm,
your own lunch. That's to some degree personalized food, right? Because it involves choice on your own that can be customized through preferences, nutritional needs, and also appearance needs, right? Someone likes to get the sandwich cut, and some
mhm,
others just don't care, right? So that's a degree of personalization. But in a more uh, current concept, or how it's being done, perhaps at the research setting, is that we're able to make a lot of these personalization automated. So instead of hiring a chef per se to prepare a personalized meal, perhaps machines like a 3D printer or a automated mixer or a vending machine, so one of those integrated food preparation machines that can do a lot of these personalizations for you.
okay. So when
Yeah.
we say personalized foods, it's really like all aspects of food. You're mentioning like its texture,
Hmm.
its nutrition, it's the color, it's really like
Mhm.
the whole package, I guess.
Yeah. And depending on how we look at the levels of personalization, broadly speaking, we could categorize them into, let's say, first of all, appearance personalization. Well, an example would just be, let's say, cupcake decorating, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's something everyone, when they're little, may have been done in the past,
Yeah,
and this is something, it's personalized, right? You get a lot of choices to make on your own to decorate your own cupcake, and you gotta eat it, right? Because we also
right.
do a lot of personalizations for other things that we just don't put in our mouth. So that's kind of level one, and a more automated example of it would be to say 3D printing chocolate,
Mm,
right? So we can 3D print chocolate, and we melt the chocolate and squeeze them through a thin nozzle and to make shapes as we're printing plastics. And it could be a personalized message to someone. It could be a kind of a portrait photo for someone, like a sketch for some of your special ones. So these are kind of we're just altering the appearance of the food, right? And that's level one. And then the next level is that we can also personalize the texture and flavor of the food.
mm,
So instead of having a uniform, like say a piece of cookie, instead of having just a regular shape and kind of the hardness or the chewiness of the cookie, we're able to alter some of the structures inside, also using 3D printer. Um, so, for example, we can create bigger holes in the cookie, so it may look like a regular size cookie, but there are catches inside, right? So you
mhm.
you are there's kind of a mind game here that could
Yes.
trick you a little bit. That I'm eating a lot,
Mhm.
but actually a lot of it is just air within the food. Yeah, but
Yes.
yeah, and of course, then you create a softer cookie or not as
Mhm.
chewy of a cookie, right? And I know also, where do you put the chocolate chip, right? Because right now, if you put chocolate chip on cookie, you just mix in with the dough, right? It's kind of randomly distributed. But a way that you can also precisely deposit these
Mhm.
chocolates to maybe the surface or just inside, right? So that also, maybe it's the same amount of chocolate, but that could create a difference in the perception of the chocolate taste,
Yes,
right?
absolutely. Because I
Uh-huh.
feel like how we eat is a lot based on appearance. So if you just have,
Uh-huh.
like, the chocolate chips on the surface, they're like, "Oh, yeah, this will be,
Yeah.
like, a really delicious cookie," when actually it's
Yeah.
kinda just tricking your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yes,
kinda like
indeed.
calorie savings, or
Mm-hmm.
like your other example, like there's
Yeah.
more air. Well, air is not any
Mm-hmm.
calories, so
Yeah.
it still looks like a huge cookie, but your
Yeah.
your calorie count will be lower.
Yeah, exactly. And just as you touched on already, right? These appearance changes, these texture changes will also lead to composition changes of the
Mhm,
food, and that's linked to nutrition. So
mhm,
really, at least currently, we're thinking of the highest level of personalization is really to personalize your nutritional intakes,
mhm,
right? So for people who may have obesity issues, it's possible that we play these type of mind games and make food that may appear to be a larger portion
mhm.
than they would actually consume. And also for specific vitamins or micronutrient, we can actually deposit them into food, and that level of let's say the level of inclusion is personalized. Because right now on the market, we're already seeing like there's multivitamins for 50
Mhm.
plus, there are multivitamins for kids, but it's not as specific as a multivitamin for you, right? So
Right.
that's where the level that we're trying to get through personalization.
No, I think that's very cool. And for some reason, one
Yeah,
idea that came to my mind as you're talking about this is something like a hospital, like where each person in a room needs very different things in their food. Maybe
yeah.
some people can't eat hard food. Maybe some are lacking
Mhm.
other vitamins or minerals, where this could be personalized per that hospital patient, per like what their needs are.
Yeah, it's really funny because we kind of we're catching up at the right time because just 2 days ago there was a conference
Oh,
in the Netherlands about 3D food printing, and one of the sessions was about 3D food printing and healthcare. So,
oh my
it,
gosh.
yeah, so Abby, you already hit the jackpot here.
Yes,
So
yes.
we really are talking about things that are more about let's say using 3D printer as a tool,
Mhm,
like you said, right? So to really roll into the patient rooms and to
yeah.
prepare some food on site. And indeed, a lot of a lot of patients that require liquid food or
Mhm,
these semi-solid food, which are perfectly fit for a 3D printing
yeah.
mechanism, and that and what's on top of it is also that certain patients, even when after they're recovered, they also have specific dietary
Mhm,
needs during their recovery or post surgery per se, and these type of personalizations. So it's not as personalized to the specific individual, but it's
mhm.
personalized towards that group of people.
Yes, yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. That is so funny. There
Yeah,
was just a
yeah,
conference, but, you know, a
indeed.
hospital, like, it's just like every patient is so different, but they're still, like, very
Mhm.
susceptible to things going wrong. That is, like, the, like, perfect situation for this, I feel like. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No. And I had one
Yeah,
other follow-up question. You mentioned
yeah.
earlier that in other industries or other products, we do really personalize them already, whereas food,
Mhm.
not so much. Like, do you have other examples where this is kind of being used?
Yeah, well, by that I mean, there are so for example, you can make your own mug with
True.
pictures of your special
Yes.
ones, right? These type of low degree of personalizations, and at the same time, I think a lot of times things like a tattoo,
Yeah.
it's personalized for you, right? And
Mhm.
that's something that we also it's common in our society. So these type of personalization is what um, I think the value of it is really in the consumer experience
Mhm.
rather than sort of the more basic needs of nutrition. If we're talking about in the context of food, right?
Right. Yes.
So it's not the basic needs anymore. So to some extent, it's a more of a higher life quality pursuit. It's
Yes.
not as basic as some of the other food challenges that we're facing, but it's also an important step to further improve our standard of living in the
Yes.
future. Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Mhm.
One thing I thought of, which is probably not something you often think of, is there's like
Yeah.
shampoo and conditioner companies where you like take a
Oh
test
yeah.
and they send you like a personalized formulation. I have never
Indeed.
done it, but I always have been
Uh-huh.
interested in it. Yes,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, exactly. Yeah, so these concepts that's true, and I think the what you mentioned about the survey or the data collection process is something quite interesting
Mm,
because even with my own research, we're quite limited. We're essentially engineers and food scientists trying to formulate and make these food, right? These personalized food, but there is currently little guidelines of
mhm,
who needs it, right? And it's not as easy to study a group of people or a given market. It's
mhm.
we really need individual data points from individuals, and to really make use of those. And that's something it's a requirement for personalization is these information exchanges that and it has to happen on a almost a consistent basis, right? Because
Right.
the shampoo example you gave, like probably the first round of it is not as perfect.
No.
You might want to tweak it, right? And the
Yeah.
tweaking process also has to go in, and
Mhm.
so there needs to be a standard way of data collection or data stream that comes in that will guide any of these type of personalization processes, automated
That
personalization
yeah, that
processes.
makes sense. I never thought from that aspect though, that obviously the more data you have, the better the
Mm-hmm.
personalization will be. But with food, I'm not sure
Mm-hmm.
like how much data we have, which makes the first like
Yeah.
launch or the first
Uh-huh.
iteration, people could be a bit disappointed in if they don't understand
Yeah.
that it's a process you go through again and it gets better. Yes.
Y- Yes, yes, and specific, perhaps not for everyday food, but for
Hmm.
more of the towards personalized nutrition, right?
Hmm.
It also it concerns a larger almost challenge or opportunity at the same time. It is how do you monitor and collect people's health data
Yeah.
on a regular basis, right? So do you do these type of dietary logs,
Hmm.
or how are you tracking people's eating behaviors and connecting that to laboratory medical
Right.
records of the same individual? So then a dietitian could only make some recommendations in terms of the everyday foods. Right, so that process, so I think now, especially the personalized nutrition, because of these technologies, we're able to democratize it to many people.
Hmm.
Not perhaps 30, 40 years ago, it was really reserved
Yeah.
for a limited amount of individuals. But also we have this challenge of getting to know everyone. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. And some of it I could is like sensitive information. You don't want everyone knowing like your health conditions
yeah.
or certain statuses. So it's also information you
Hmm.
can't find easily if you're trying to collect data necessarily.
Yeah. Yes, yes. So that's quite of a challenge, specifically towards the health data.
Hmm. No.
Yeah,
And I think this is super interesting, this personalized food, but how I know you're doing research on it, but how are we sort of going to bring this more mainstream or what is that process looking like right now?
yeah. That's a good question. So I specifically work on 3D food printing, right? So there are, and not all food can be 3D printed. You can't
Hmm.
really print a carrot, for example. You, but many foods, for example, like confectionaries,
Hmm.
baked goods, gummies, chocolate, these type of materials are fitted for printing. And there are specific um, uh, uh, food printer companies, commercial companies that are producing these printers. And in fact, uh, the Netherlands and Germany are the leading
Oh,
leading countries to host these printer companies. So that they're producing these printers mainly for bakeries and for food service places, so that well, even in some fine dining restaurants, for example, the let's say hummus or mashed potatoes, even, right? They're commonly served maybe with ice cream scoop or something.
hmm.
But it's quite of an easy transition for people to think that if you 3D print it, you can print these finished cooked mashed potatoes into a very nice shape, and they can use it for plate decoratings and also to create that consumer experience. Right, so
Yes.
that's what I think it's the key here. It's really to really the value is in the experience.
Yes. Or you could even, if you 3D print it, you almost control the portion size as well. Like it's going to be one like
Mhm.
decorated piece of mashed potatoes instead of like each person
Mhm.
taking a different scoop size or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. And oftentimes that's what we observe that's get left on the plate right after
Right.
a meal. So that could also reduce some of the food waste potentially.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
with these personalized foods, like you are mentioning restaurants and that type of thing, is that where you think we're closest, like restaurants and grocery stores, to get some of
Mhm.
these personalized foods, sort of an automated system maybe? Or what's your take on that?
Yeah, I think the sweet spot is at least the few years that according to our observation is that's really the entry point to the market. It's at food service and at at the store level, right? Not at the kitchen level, at the home kitchen level, let's say. It's
Right.
more at the commercial kitchen level, um, because the overhead of setting up a printer and the cost that goes into it and operations, it would not be very feasible for
Mhm.
individuals at home yet. Right? So at the food service level, it's a better entry point because they're still very close to consumers, not as far as some these
Yeah.
CPG companies who are making these mass-produced products. So it's still possible to serve individuals with personalized foods. However, I think if we broaden this category a little bit and think of things like the shampoo example, or
Mhm.
even our coffee machines in our office building,
Yeah.
right? There are some personalization you could do. You can dial up and down with the sugar
Yes.
level. There's a different amount of milk that you can add. So if it's drinks, if it's non-perishable foods, there are also ways to do this through a kind of a in office settings, or even an e-commerce type of settings. And I'll give you an example. It's pretty cool, with the Barilla company for pasta.
Yes.
They have 3D printed pasta on
Oh,
sale on their website. Yeah, so because pastas are, other than spaghetti, everything is kind of printed, right? It
yeah.
was just, or it was more like twisted. But
Mhm.
you can really uh, go to a finer scale of twisting or printing, of extrusion, and to get to more complicated and new shapes, right? Because what they have, the iconic shape is, instead of the regular the macaroni type of
Mhm.
shapes, or you can actually print something more like a vase or some vessel,
Oh.
and this vessel is in general large enough to hold some sauce inside of it.
Oh, I
So
love that.
yeah, so you're kind of eating a little dumpling with
Oh
fillings
my gosh.
of the pasta sauce. Yeah, so that's something quite innovative, and what they have done is, it's expensive.
Okay.
Let me put that
Yes.
out there.
Yes.
Yeah, but at the same time, their business model is that they're selling them through catering services and
Oh,
e-commerce. So you can buy them through their website because pastas, right? They can store.
right. Oh, I'm gonna have to
Mhm.
check that out after this. I had no
Yes,
idea. I will go to their website.
yeah,
No, but
yes, yes. It's quite cool. Yeah.
yes. Especially if you were having like a
Uh,
special party or something. Like I could see that,
mhm.
like if you have a catered party,
Yeah.
like that might be like a great use of this.
Yes, yes. Yeah, and same for chocolate and candies. There are,
Yes.
I think, in the U.S., in California, there's also sugar fab. So they essentially
Oh,
they actually print these, almost just like, these different shapes of sugars, with
okay.
sugar powder. They use a different way of printing. It's not squeezing out
Uh-huh.
these filaments. Instead, they use a powder bed, so more like printing metals in the
Oh,
industrial
wow. Okay.
uses. Yeah. So, but they're essentially fusing these layers of sugar powders together to make different shapes, right? And I think just this past year they had a very big hit for Halloween, because they
Oh,
made
okay.
a lot of these nice shapes, and then kids can decorate it,
Mhm.
and then they're mostly used as like sugar cubes in water. It
Oh, yeah.
dissolves in water. Yeah, and they really have a commercial business to say you can order these for a kids party, and
Wow.
yeah, just personalize these designs.
No, that is super fun. But I
Hmm.
think you're right in that there are certain aspects where the food is more personalized. Like at work, we have all these coffee machines where you can press a couple buttons and sort of specialize it. Or in the grocery store,
Hmm.
for some reason, you can always get freshly pressed orange juice, but it's not
Hmm.
everything. Like somehow a couple of different aspects of the food have become more easily
Yeah,
personalized. Yeah.
Exactly, and I think it's gonna stay that way just
Okay.
because we're so advanced in food that we created so many edible materials
Yes.
already in our cultures. So that's actually one of the hard question or the challenge that we as researchers want to tackle is can we make machines that can really be a generalist, right? Do
Mhm.
a lot of things at once. So that is where the current research is about, and hopefully we can provide some solutions and to broaden the selections of personalized food.
Yes, I think I cannot wait.
Mm.
I'm very curious where this
Yeah.
research goes and what we see in like grocery
Uh-huh.
stores or at restaurants in a couple years because it could be quite different than what we see now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It's much
No.
possible. Yeah.
Wonderful. Ben, I have one last question I like to ask everyone. Because you,
Okay.
like me, have done a lot of schooling, been to university for a long time. So, do you have any piece of advice for current food science students, or what did you wish you had known when you were, doing your
Uh-huh.
bachelor's degree?
My advice would be to not limit your choices
Hmm.
because food is a very broad topic and there are many career paths. I think Abby, you also featured people with very different
Yeah.
career path on your channel, right? But they all study food science at
Yes.
some point. So you can look beyond just one specializations because most of your skills are quite transferable across the
Yes.
different functions in food companies. And to keep an open mind, and that would really help because the world is changing, a lot of the focuses are changing, so you can also have a more flexible career in the future if you
Hmm.
have not to limit your options to one specialization.
Yeah, I agree. A bachelor's in food science can lead to so many different careers. It's really amazing. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say if you
Yeah.
want to hear more of Ben, we have to talk about your podcast. So you can listen to more of Ben
Uh,
on the podcast Food in the Hood, which I have also been your
yes,
guest on the
yes,
podcast.
yes, yes. We're doing all these crosses now,
Yes,
which
yes.
are great. Yeah,
No, it's super fun. I think if I'm remembering right, I'm on episode 48 and 49 with you and Amanda.
yeah,
Yes, yes. So
yes,
go.
yes. I think so. Yeah, and Abby's name is on the title, so
Yes, so just look for
feel
that.
free to listen. And also, you can listen to our conversation at Food in the Hood.
Yes. No, it's super
Yes.
fun. You need more food science in your life. So go check it out.
Yeah,
Yes. No, awesome, Ben. Thank you so much for your time. I loved learning about personalized food. I think this is so interesting.
great. Yeah, thanks for having me. And yeah, we'll keep you updated if there are
Yes,
anything new coming up. Yeah.
I hope so.